Because one thing I've learned is that the Laugh Factory in California, which I've also performed in, Gotham and Caroline's in New York City, in which I'm a regular. All of these clubs have lots of black comedians. So it's tough because clearly they figured something out that mainstream comedy rooms in markets that are not in New York City and in California have not, but some people may say that the comedy is just better. Like, in order to cross over both ways, you have to be a really good black or white comedian. You just have to be really, really good. You have to be at a certain level, which is no insult to anyone who's not necessarily at that level yet. But I think that has a lot to do with it. And I would be lying to you if I wasn't also going to point out that I do believe systematic racism also has a lot to do with it. Because certain clubs that aren't in New York City and LA that are mainstream rooms, a lot of them are really hesitant to let in a black comedian that is not at a certain level and doesn't have a certain following. That's just the truth.
No, I agree with you. I can even say from my standpoint, when I book shows, I would say black people are probably underrepresented because I usually book them based on I've seen them perform somewhere and I really enjoyed them, but I don't see too many black people perform because I'm not in the city that much. So I do agree with you 100% about what exactly what you're saying. So what is a great way that I can get people that would be great in those rooms that I wouldn't have exposure seeing because I'm like very far removed from the city kind of situation?
So, first of all, I applaud you for asking that question. Just for people's sake, that you asked that question makes you a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. But I mean, and there's a third thing too. You know, the other two things, like I said, is that you have to just be really good to know how to do both rooms, and the second thing being systematic oppression. And the third thing, the third and final thing is I think that some comedians just stick to their audience. Like, some black comedians only want to perform in front of black rooms. Some white comedians only want to perform in front of white rooms. And so it's this versus that, which I know you weren't insinuating, but it's just that they found their audience. And so they don't really want to test the waters because they feel like they've tested the waters that they're not comfortable swimming in too many times, and they've just realized that's not their audience.
Okay.
Now in certain cities, that's not the case, and I think Philadelphia is one of those cities, to be honest with you. But which is why I'm grateful for what Punchline is doing. Punchline's been really on top of putting on black comedians, and that's my answer, because I still have an answer. That's my answer to the question of where do I find them. All right. First of all, Punchline, because Punchline, if you're in Philadelphia, Punchline is one of those rooms that definitely have. If you're good and you're black and you're in the city and you aren't at Punchline yet, then you might have a little bit further to grow. In order to be bookable everywhere. But that's not the case with certain rooms. It's just not like you can be good in black. You can be really good in black and not be on stage. Now, it's also that a room like is just feels like they hold themselves to a higher standard.
Okay.
So that's the way some people will put it. But
that's that's not good either, I guess. I mean, that's a weird way of saying it, to not include other races, I guess. Hold a higher standard.
It's not a good way. It's racism is what it is.
No, I agree.
but all those rooms
Mhm.
where you find them, just go to those rooms and hang out. You know, the punchlines, the warm daddies, the and of course I think those are the biggest two. You're gonna come across. I don't know how to put it other than saying that some rooms are really, really, really white.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And you're gonna come across some black comedians that are really, 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 really good, but just haven't crossed over yet, or maybe don't want to cross over in terms of their content and their target audience. So I mean, there's famous black comedians that won't do well in some of those rooms.
Yeah.